Hi there.
Hi, welcome to Curious Collection. I'm Will.
I'm Cinnamon.
So today we want to talk about goals, goal making, and what we're going to do for the upcoming year. And we want to invite you to come along for that journey, as well as getting involved on your own behalf of setting some aggressive goals. So this past year, we've talked about our goal was to do $100,000 in sales. So we are currently at 89,000. We have 5 weeks left in the year.
Yeah.
So I just ran the numbers. We are within $5 a day of being on that goal.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting.
It really is.
It hasn't been easy, and it's not going to be easy for the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So
no, we are very goal driven people. Which is good for our business, because we find that just in all aspects of our life, if you don't have goals, then you kind of flounder around, and things in our lives, at least, things don't get done if they're not in your face and like written on the wall. Like we've had like family goals. And we had a wall in our living room, and he took a black permanent Sharpie marker.
Don't use black marker.
Don't do it, because you can't even paint over that stuff. And he wrote family goals on the wall, so that we had those visions. We had something to look at. When we were trying to get out of debt, we made visual representations of like the little mason jar that has like the lines, and we would, every time we'd make a payment, we would make it grow, right? So that we had something to help us like laser focus onto our goals.
Right. We were actually a few years back, we were very interested in running. And so we had this small goal that we wanted to do 100 miles every month in preparation for our half marathon race that we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, it held us accountable. And
it does.
When you started falling behind, you felt the pressure immediately.
Right.
Rather than waiting till the end of the month.
If we skipped our day and we didn't do our 3 miles, well, now we know that we have to do 4 miles the next time, or 5 miles the next time. And so as long as you have those goals and you stop and you talk about it and you say, okay, well, if this is my big goal, then what do I need to do to make that happen?
Right. So at the beginning of the year, we had talked about it, and we thought that, the thing that was going to get us there is we had this dollar amount we needed to sell every day, and we had this listing goal. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to list a minimum of
50 items a day. Between the two of us, that's combined.
And we wanted to hit the $273 in sales every day.
Right. So
coming out the gates in January, we only did $4,500 in sales. So we were barely clearing, $100 every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was scary, and it was miserable, and trying to list that much stuff. And, it seemed like maybe we were on the wrong track, but we held it out.
Mm-hmm.
We continued to push forward, and all of a sudden, over the course, and it wasn't all of a sudden, it was slowly over the course of time, we went from January being at 4,500 all the way up to March being at 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we had literally tripled our sales by being consistent, by doing the behaviors that we thought were going to push us in the right direction.
Right.
So that was
some of those annual goals, like we had talked about, our sales goals. Absolutely. That is a big goal that takes a lot of steps to get to. Some of our other annual goals might be, to do the taxes, right? That's a fun annual goal, something that you have to do every year. But it takes some time and energy and work in order to get that massive project done.
Tied into the sales goals and taxes is our profitability and our payroll and our savings. So one of the things that we've talked about is building up our business account to the point where we might have a little bit of a buffer there.
Mm-hmm.
So last year 2 years ago, we had an opportunity to buy several thousand model airplanes. And at that point in time, we had a savings, a buffer in our business account of several $1,000s, and we were able to go out and make that buy, and it was amazing for our business.
It was. And that's why we had that wonderful March, was because, the previous year he had been able to make that excellent buy. And then with the sales over the previous year, we were able to, keep that momentum going.
Right. So it definitely helped us with growth. It helped us with business capital. It helped us with reviews. Like it was just an overall positive experience. Buying into one niche had helped us expand our business out that much faster than what we were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of having that buffer is that we know based on the last 3 years that in summer it slows down.
Right.
So rather than waiting until summer, waiting until April, May, June, and figuring out that the capital's not flowing the way that we think it should, recognizing now, coming
Mm-hmm.
out of that negative season, that we need to make sure that we're positioned, whether it's
Right.
making sure that we've got the inventory staged so that come next year, we don't have to buy inventory, or making sure that we've got the capital saved so that we can afford to pay ourselves.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one right there. I mean, we know that this is a seasonal business. Q4, everybody talks about it. So being able to look ahead, because you have those long-term goals, knowing in our particular business, we know that summer is slow, but buying in summer is slow for us as well, because our auction house takes time off, and it's super hot down here in Florida. And
right, and it's a seasonal community, so
Right.
when the snowbirds are typically here in the wintertime, they're the ones that bring all of the goodies that we like to buy up. So,
and they also have all the money when it comes to the purchasing in-person sales and things like that. So we know that we have to look forward, and that's one of our annual goals, is to ensure that we are set for the year, not just for the season.
right. So something else that we've talked about is that we've got that big $100,000 goal this year, and like I told you, it breaks down to $273 a day. This coming year, we're looking at $120,000. It's $328 a day. It works out to be, for us, we talked before about a 25% rule for our purchasing. So
Mm-hmm.
we always want to try to keep our expenses in line to what our sales are. So that way we are capable of building that capital. We are capable of making our payroll. Something to think about for us, 25% of our total expenditures for that 120,000 in sales is $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's an incredible amount of money that is going to be required to move on for another year at that volume.
Right.
So, you have to plan out in advance. Well, what is that going to look like? Are we going to spend, 10,000 of the 30,000 in the first 3 months of the year so that we have enough inventory to drive us through? Or where are we positioned on inventory? Can we get through, the beginning of the year and maybe take advantage of some fire sales in the middle of summer?
Right.
It's hard to say. That's why we think about it ahead of time. That's why we're thinking about it 5 weeks before the year starts, so that on January 1st, it's not a resolution.
Right.
It's not a dream. It's a goal.
Right. And that's the thing, is a lot of people talk about wanting to own their own business, wanting to run their own business. And that is an amazing dream. The opportunity that we have available to us is just, it's a dream come true. It really, really is. But unfortunately, there are a lot of small businesses that fail within the first 5 years. And if we are not working aggressively to set these goals and to stick to these goals, then our dreams may not come to fruition. And I don't want that for us. And I certainly don't want that for any of you out there either. So there are times when you have to be aggressive with your goals and aggressive with sticking to them. It's that accountability. I have this goal. For the last year, when we were doing our 50 listings a day, we had a goal. Like, that was what we wanted to do. And And it does help you to be able to, like, you don't even have to think about it. You're like, nope, I got to do this. I got to do this. This is what we've got to do in order to keep this business moving forward. And sometimes it's actually a relief to be able to have that. And it's not an option. You just have to do it.
It's nice to have a structure and an expectation on yourself. So one of the things that we do is we have a daily schedule. We get up at the same time. We have the same routine. We always make sure that we get our workout in. We always make sure that we eat at the same time. It builds out an opportunity for the listing, for the sourcing, and it's consistent 7 days a week for us. And that it really does help set us in track for what needs to be done next.
Mm-hmm.
There's no thinking, oh, well, maybe I should do this or that. No, based on your schedule, what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we stirred it up a little bit when we said, maybe having a daily listing goal isn't the best idea.
Sometimes you do have to have some flexibility, right? You have to, it's one thing to have goals, right? And you're like, oh, this is my goal. I'm going to do this every day, blah, blah, blah. But there are times when the world changes too, or your business model changes, or, so it's important that you have goals, you set goals, you work towards those goals, but that you also kind of have some future sight and reevaluate those goals.
Right. So we did have to reevaluate the daily listing goal. And, I would use it as an example as, one of the things that we sell is print ads. You need an incredible amount of volume on print ads to actually list enough that somebody that's looking for print ads is going to find something that engages them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're going to sell a Ferrari, you probably just need to sell one this year. So you really probably need to take more time on making sure that that car is pristine, make sure it's mechanically sound, and put your energy into that one listing and make sure that the listing's got video and the listing's got all 24 photos and you've got the vehicle history going back to production. There's a ton of variables, and saying, well, I'm going to do 50 Ferraris a day isn't realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And only doing 50 print ads is insufficient.
Right. So it is important that, you look at the big picture and that you reevaluate. Sometimes the platform changes. So, what may have been a listing 3 years ago or 4 years ago when he first started the business.
Right. Item specifics have changed. Photo requirements have changed. So again, things, we have to be flexible. We have to reevaluate occasionally, but having those big goals, again, is important. And as long as we're focused on those goals, mm-hmm. we're going to hit close to the target.
Right.
So something that we've talked about seasonally is now that we're in the last 41 days of the year, we have aggressively approached listing out all of our Christmas items.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, this is the holiday season. This is when they're selling. We've been selling holiday items every day, essentially since the beginning of October.
Right.
So for 6 weeks now, every day we've had something holiday go out.
During our walk, we talk about, okay, what does our day look like? Right? What does our day look like? What are we listing? What are we focusing on? What are the family obligations that are going to tear us away from work? What does our day look like? So what can we focus our energy on? And this season, obviously, our energy is being focused on Christmas, right? This is Q4. What are people buying this week, particularly? People have Thanksgiving. So are they going to host their dinner and decide that they need that extra platter that, matches their set? Are they going to decide that they need to decorate their house this weekend? That's what we're doing as a family. We're decorating for Christmas because our 14-year-old's like, day after Thanksgiving is when I'm going to go Christmas all in. So I guess we're going all in on Christmas. So those are some things that you need to look at and go, okay, well, where am I going to focus my energy? Right now, we had our boxes of ornaments, and that's what we were focusing our energy on. Is if it's Christmas, it's got to get listed. Now my next focus is I'm going to go through all of the jewelry that I have that's not listed yet and pick out those Hollywood Regency pieces, those pieces that people are going to wear to the Christmas party. That's where my focus needs to be so that those items can get sold right now when the season is right.
Right. So I worked in retail for 20 years. A big portion of that time was in management. One of our directions is that we always wanted to be 6 weeks ahead of the holiday. Working in online retail, you lose 2 weeks because of shipping. So in my opinion, you really need to focus, a minimum of 8 weeks prior to the holiday to make sure that all your stuff's up. So, once we're through this Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah season, and New Year's, we're going to put all of our focus on anything that's Valentine's Day related. And we're going to focus on, all of those shamrock type items for the upcoming St. Patrick's Day and Easter. So, basically we break the year out into quarters. And that brings me to the next topic is that quarterly taxes, year-end taxes, make a plan at the beginning of the year, put it on your calendar so that you don't forget those dates. You remember to have your books prepared. That way you can make sure that you're filing on time. None of us out here that are working in this industry want to have those penalties.
No.
They can be aggressive. If you haven't talked to anybody yet about your tax situation this year, now is the time to do it. Make sure that you're paying quarterlies if you're like us and you do this as a full-time job. If you're not doing it full-time, still talk to somebody and find out if maybe you should be doing, some quarterlies as well. So, that's basically what our year looks like and how we've gotten to this point and really what we're trying to do moving forward. Right. So I invite you all to put in the comments, what are your big goals and what are you going to do to get there?
Right.
We need to hold ourselves accountable. That's why we're doing this video, is because we're putting ourselves out there. These are our goals. This is what we intend to do. And hopefully working into 2024, we can be successful with those goals.
Absolutely. And like I said, we want you guys to be successful too. So put those goals out there and then look at them and have them in your face, because if you don't, then sometimes life happens, so make the goals a priority, right? And break it down into, like we were talking about with taxes. Okay, we got taxes at the end of the year, but first we're going to have quarterly taxes. And before that, we're going to have every month we go through and put our receipts in so that when we do those quarterly taxes, it's not nearly as difficult. And then when we do our year-end taxes, it's not nearly so difficult. So make those big goals and then make those little goals that are going to make your big goal actually achievable.
Right. And then one other thing that, comes to mind is that when we first started talking about doing this, and, I had some friends that I would work with, and, I would tell people, like, this is my plan. 6 months before I left my job, I was already planning this position, this move. And I started talking to people, and, I'm putting myself out there. I'm holding myself accountable by sharing this. And, you are going to get some criticism. You are going to get some feedback. Some of it could be valid. When people told you that, oh, it's going to be hard to get healthcare.
Right.
Well, they didn't know about the process, but there are certainly challenges.
There are.
So, but when you put yourself out there to people that you know, people that you trust, hopefully the people in your world will care about you enough to at least, have some faith in you, and they can help you move along that process. If not, you're absolutely welcome, like I said, to share it with us. We wish everyone the best in this reselling, adventure that we're on. We're not afraid of sharing the secret sauce with anybody. Competition's healthy.
It is. And I mean, again, when we all do better, then the platform does better. And then it's this wonderful cycle of good. So, hopefully you guys can make some aggressive goals and work to achieve them.
All right.
All right. Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below.